So, have you ever went to a store or went to go download a game on your system or PC and you saw these two games called Story of Seasons Friends of Mineral Town and Story of Seasons A Wonderful Life? But you went, hey, wait a minute. Were these games called Harvest Moon Friends of Mineral Town and Harvest Moon A Wonderful Life? Well, yes. In this video, I will be explaining the split up that changed everything. So please enjoy. So, this story starts in Japan, and it starts with a man over there named Yashiro Wada, who wanted to make a chill RPG farm sim game. So, he had a company called MCUS to develop, and it was produced by Victor Interactive Software. And Wada called the game Bochogo Managati, which translated to Farm Story or Ranch Story. And for the rest of the series in Japan, the game was just called Bochogo Managati, and of course with extra, names and all that for the sequels and all that. So when Wada wanted Bochogo Managati to come to the rest, he wanted to make sure that he found someone that can translate the games for English players. So then he met up with the president of Natsume, and Natsume came up with the name Harvest Moon and the logo. And Natsume's job was to simply translate all the Bochogo Monogatari games to English, but they used the Harvest Moon name instead of Bochogo Monogatari. So when Natsume was translating the Bochogo Monogatari games for English speakers, there were some translation errors. For example, if you send Van to the Game Boy version of Friends of Mineral Town from the GameCube version of A Wonderful Life, he's called Lou and not Van. But people were still happy with these games, and a lot of them were successful. And as Natsume were publishing the games for English players, Victor Interactive Software changed their name to Marvelous. And today, they're still known as Marvelous. But then, in 2014, after Harvest Moon A New Beginning, Marvelous and Natsume split up. And Natsume, they held the copyright name to the Harvest Moon name and logo, so Marvelous couldn't use it. So instead, they decided to change their name to Story of Seasons. And Natsume, they kept making Harvest Moon games, and it all started with Harvest Moon The Lost Valley on the 3DS, and people did not like this game at all. It was bad, and it was just not the same. Then of course, Natsume had the Switch Harvest Moon games, and they're still making some to this day, and some of them were kind of and ones I know that I hear people say that were good are Harvest Moon Light of Hope and Harvest Moon Winds of Infos. And I've only played Light of Hope. In my opinion, it's good. So that's the only Harvest Moon game from Natsume I will judge. It's a good game. And with Marvelous, after they split up with Natsume, they got another company to publish the farm sim games to the West. And the company is called XSeed, which is part of Marvelous. And when Marvelous pumped out the Story of Seasons games in America on the 3DS, everyone thought that Story of Seasons was a Harvest Moon ripoff. But no, Marvelous is the original developers of Harvest Moon. They just had to change their name. You see, Natsume only owns the name Harvest Moon in the logo, but Marvelous owns the rights to the games and the characters. Natsume's only job was to translate the older games into English. As Marvelous was pumping out the Story of Seasons games, Natsume continued to make their own Harvest Moon series, and people really do not like these games. One World is an example. People didn't like that game, and games like Sky Tree Village and the other ones, people just didn't like them. And everyone really leaned and liked the Story of Seasons games better. As Marvelous was pumping out the Story of Seasons games, Natsume made their own Harvest Moon game series that had no connection to the Bochogo Monogatari games. And people really do not like these games. Like I said, no one liked the Lost Valley, and later on, of course, after the Switch released, Marvelous remade some of the older Bochogo Monogatari games on the Switch. They did Friends of Mineral Town, and then A Wonderful Life, and then one of the other games on the DS. But before the A Wonderful Life remake, they also made a new Story of Seasons game that was not a remake, and that was Story of Seasons Pioneers of Olive Town. In my opinion, that game is good. But yeah, Story of Seasons, Friends of Mineral Town, and The Wonderful Life, they're the same games that you played on the GBA, GameCube, and PS2. They're just quality of life improvement remakes of those games on the Switch and other platforms. And yeah, that's basically the story of the split up that changed everything. And I hope you enjoyed this video. So yeah everyone, peace out.